Vega. It's a vegan protein that I would love to not pay for anymore. Vega, send me some protein. If I don't know, Vega, if you're not into me, fine. Other protein brands, like, I'm not committed yet. I can be though, if the price is right. So today I am making a dish that I grew up with. It's from my childhood. I have been getting requests to be making more Persian food since I guess I came out with my Persian New Year story, and it's a stew called khoresh ghaime. And it's made up of meat, dried limes, chana dal, a few different spices, and it has this incredible crunchy potato topping. It's really easy, and I'm gonna show you how to make it. We're gonna start with the onion. This is just gonna be the base, like with so many different stews around the world. So I'm using here chana dal, which are yellow split peas. I'm gonna cover this by 2 inches, and then I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt. We're gonna bring that to a simmer. Once it comes to a boil, we'll reduce it to pretty low simmer. Let that go for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, we're gonna heat about 3 tablespoons of oil. So I'm gonna take you back. We have 1 pound of chuck cut to about 3/4 inch, 1 inch pieces. I'm gonna season this with salt. Give that a toss. If you could do this early, as in like an hour before, that's great, just to really season the meat. You have the oil nice and shiny. We're gonna add the onions. I'm gonna walk away for a second. At home, don't walk away unless you're a professional. I wanted to show you these. These are called in Farsi limu omani, which translates to basically salted Persian limes. It's so perfumey. It has that musky flavor. I love it. Ideally, you want to pierce these so that their flavor can be extracted when you add them to the stew. All right, let's see how the onions are doing. Okay, I'll season this with a little bit of salt. Okay, so we have our onions. They're pretty soft. They're brown around the edges. This is good. I'm gonna add 1 pound of the chuck and toss this. Probably about anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes, medium high. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of ground turmeric and about 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. We'll give that a toss. We'll let that go for just like 30 seconds, only just to kind of get the aromas going. The meat starts to look a little glazy. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. Some people add pepper, some people don't. I add a little bit. And then I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. I'll cook this down for about 2 minutes just to cook the tomato paste out. So now the tomato paste is starting to stick to the bottom of the pot. I'm gonna add those dried limes. And then I'm gonna add 4 cups of water. We're going to bring this to a boil and let's just scrape the bottom of the pot since that tomato paste and the spices might have stuck. We have our stew coming to a boil. I am just gonna reduce it to a simmer, like medium low. I'm gonna take the back of a wooden spoon and I'm just gonna crush them slightly, the sides of the pan. You want that kind of musky, sour, funky, astringent flavor. So I'm gonna reduce that. I'm gonna cover with a lid, leaving it just like slightly open so some of the steam can come out and so it can reduce. We have a tiny bit of saffron that costs as much as my pinky's worth. I will say this is the optional part of the stew. Some households put it, some households don't. I like it. So I'm just going to grind up the saffron threads like this. Sometimes I'll add a pinch of kosher salt. Some people add like coarse sugar just to kind of help it grind to a powder. We're gonna just get it to a powder consistency like this. I'm gonna add like 3 tablespoons of hot water. You have the saffron water. This is 3 tablespoons worth of saffron water. We're probably only going to use about a tablespoon of this in the stew. So the stew gets topped with potatoes. It sounds weird, yet it's what makes this dish, I think, really, really special. 1 russet potato, unpeeled. So what I like to do is stack these up, and then I'll cut them about a little less than 1/2 inch. straight down. I'm gonna put this in a salad spinner. This is weird. Stay with me. I'm gonna rinse these in cold water. What I'm doing here is kind of just agitating the potatoes and getting rid of any excess starch. You'll see how the water's cloudy. Okay, so it's great, easy to kind of do it in a salad spinner because then you just can kind of drain it really quickly. And then you also have all this water that's on the potatoes now. And you need to get rid of that because you don't want to put that water in the frying oil because it's going to splatter and prevent your potatoes from becoming crisp and golden. So what I like to do is spin them in a salad spinner. And you get all this water out from your potatoes. Look at that. Look at that.
Wow.
I'm going to put a big handful of potatoes. You're going to turn these around. Look how pretty these ones turn. You see? Really nice, wavy. Really crunchy. They look like my hair during puberty.
And you gotta provide us with the photo so we can cut that in.
Things been cleared up. So you want to take the potatoes out when they start to turn golden like this. You want to season this with salt immediately. Then I'm going to add the last batch here. This is totally not the traditional way you'd make these potatoes. You would just saute them. But this is just a little bit of, I think, a cool technique. So we have our crisp potatoes. I'm going to turn off my oil. I'm going to check the stew. It's nice and thickened. I'm going to add the saffron water over here, about a tablespoon's worth. I leave these the dried limes in. Some people take them out just before serving. I think we're pretty good on salt. It's really delicious. You have the wonderful brightness from the dried limes. The chana dal has great texture. I'm just gonna serve this up. And this is not a published recipe, so just follow us at this video. You can DM me if you want more details or questions, and I'll get back at you. I'm just gonna top this with potatoes, like that. You can eat it on its own with flatbread or some fluffy Persian rice. I hope you guys enjoy it and it brings as memories to you as it does for me. I gotta catch a ferry. What are those? They're regular people's shoes. And I don't feel good about myself or sexy, but this is what I needed to wear today.